Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch a flick with me? Famous scenes with drama queens and heroes acted out there on the silver screen. Come grab a seat, the popcorn is on me.
Hello and welcome to Meet Me at the Movies. I'm Noel T. Manning II. Really appreciate you all spending time with us, however you choose to do that, whether that's through C19 TV or through the radio version of the show through WGWG. We always just say thank you, thank you, thank you. And really happy to have as our guest Banks Repeta. Banks, I feel like I've been trying to get you on the show since you were born. I got a chance to interview your mom, who's been had a little something to do in the industry a while back, and just really happy to see what's happening with you. And thank you for taking the time. I know it's a busy season for you.
Yeah, of course. I'm glad I can make it on the show.
Well, I am too, and looking forward to the next half hour as we kind of talk about your work in the industry and kind of how that happened, and we'll especially spend some time talking about Armageddon Time as well. Really excited to gear in and chat about that. But to give people a little background on who you are, tell me a little bit about where this love of acting came from, and how that happened, and when you knew this was something that, I think I want to pursue this.
Well, I mean, my whole life, my mom's an actress and my dad's a camera operator. So my whole entire life, I've kind of grown up around the movie sets and kind of gotten a feel for what it's like to be on a movie set with all the lights and the action and the people and just how it is. So I was kind of always used to it, and I'm not sure when I would say I really got to a liking for it, rather than I just always was familiar with it.
So being familiar with it and trying to decide on this was something you could do you remember when you thought you had this kind of knack for acting or this yearning to do some acting?
I do remember my first role, which was when my mom was doing a commercial and her agent, she said that the person that was going to play her kid in the commercial was unavailable. So her agent asked if I would like to do the part, because it was a small part. All I had to do is sit and eat cereal for a commercial. And she asked me and she said, would you like to do this commercial? It's you don't really have to do anything. You just sit there. And I had this historical starting moment for my acting career. I said, hold up, wait, will there be any cuddling scenes? Because I don't do cuddling. Yeah, and I started there.
That's great. So no cuddling. Is that in your contract? No cuddling? Is that part of the deal?
I guess so, yeah.
Because if I look at this, it looks like you're cuddling right here with Anthony Hopkins. So it looks like maybe. I love it. After that, did you kind of have that acting bug? Did you feel like, hey, this is something I may want to do? Or did it just kind of gradually happen?
It kind of gradually happened. I think after that, I started getting some auditions. And from there, I moved on and got bigger and bigger parts and eventually got to where I am right now.
So for you, was it mostly in front of the camera, or did you do any stage acting as well?
Good question. I did do stage acting, and I live in Wilmington. So here we have Thalian Hall, and they have this program called Pied Piper, where they do kids plays, and schools from around Wilmington come to Thalian Hall to watch these plays, and I got to be in a couple of those.
Wonderful, wonderful. Do you remember when you started realizing that this is something that not only you wanted to do, but something that you felt you were good at? Was there a point in time that you said, I think I'm pretty good at this, or was it something someone said, or was it something you saw in yourself?
Probably something, it was a little bit more gradual. I don't think it was this realization of, wow, I am good at acting. It was just kind of like, I eased into it and was like, okay, I have a hang of this eventually. After my third or fourth role on the screen.
Do you know when that breakthrough actually happened for you? When you realized, okay, I'm really onto something, and there's some amazing things starting to happen. What was that? What would you say that breakthrough role was for you?
That's a good question. I think it would probably be The Devil All the Time, because the casting director on that film is Douglas Abel, who happens to be the same casting director on Armageddon Time. So I think I have a little bit of a connection there.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. Whenever you make those connections, you have that networking, you build those relationships, they do tend to help you down the road, and that's the key. I mean, you see that in the industry. It is a family, and not just a biological family, but it becomes this family beyond that. And I know that you have been brought up in this industry, as you mentioned earlier, and I'd love for you to talk about maybe some lessons you've learned from your parents about this industry, either lessons they've shared with you or maybe lessons you've just picked up on by just observation.
Well, definitely one that has been told to me is that no matter who you are or what you do or how long you've known the industry, you never, ever know everything about the movie industry. There's always one more thing you can learn. Always. And back to what you were saying earlier, yeah, like work breeds work. That's another one that my parents always said, is when you make work and you get to know people from that film, when you do other films, you have connections, like you said earlier, and it grows.
So Armageddon Time is a film that has stellar star power. You talk about the cast in this, and you also talk about the director in this. You already talked about the cinematography connection there. Talk about the journey of getting this role, because this is a major role. I pulled this up earlier for consideration DVD, and you look at James Gray, who this is a story that's so connected to him, the screenplay and the director there. And you've got Anne Hathaway, of course, and Anthony Hopkins. Some stellar names attached to this project. And I'd love for you to talk us through that journey of how this happened and how you end up showing up, in the posters. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
Right. So like I said earlier, Douglas Abel knew me from Devil All the Time. And then I got the audition, and I did it. I sent it in. James saw me, and he called us back and said he wanted to do a Zoom. And on the Zoom, that's kind of where I got to know what kind of director James Gray was. And in the callback, he was getting my mom running around, running back and forth, saying, could you get a carrot or something for him to munch on in this scene? Or maybe he'd be playing with this in the scene. And so that's where I kind of got to play with them around with the scene.
Wow. Mm-hmm. And so once you realized that you received this role, talk about that moment, and did you realize the magnitude of what this meant?
Yes. I knew right when I got the audition. Of course, I didn't know exactly what the film was about because I didn't have the whole entire script. All I knew was all I really knew was how the character reacted to some of the scenes. And from there, that's where I came up with my own Paul Graff. And then I knew that he was the main character. So when I did get the part, as little as I did know a little bit of the magnitude of, oh, okay, I got this now.
I know your mom's been pretty happy about this too, because I follow your mom on social, so I've been seeing pictures of you like crazy throughout this whole process, and so I know that she and your dad are both proud of you and proud of what you are doing, and it's exciting to see what's happening, as I've said earlier. This is a film that anytime a filmmaker wants to tell parts of their story, something that they've written, something that has a very personal connection, they are very close to every aspect of this. So I'd love for you, if you could share some thoughts of the direction you received from the director and screenwriter, both, who has this personal love. So what did James share with you throughout this whole process to help you bring this role to life?
Well, before we started filming, we had about 2 weeks to get to know everybody. Get to know my Jalen and get to know my other actors and the directors, the ADs, and just know everyone. And that's when I first met James in person. And we had a lot of talks together. And, he told me some basic things about Paul Graff, like what it was like in Queens in 1980 and what a normal day in the life of Paul Graff was like, but he made it very clear to me that he wanted to see what I could do with the role and really gave it to me and said, turn this into art. And I did, and then he tweaked it to where he wanted to see Paul Graff.
So what was that like for you? Did you appreciate that freedom to allow yourself to be authentic within that role?
It's an actor's dream to be able to just have the role to yourself and do whatever you want and play around with it. Yeah, I loved that so much.
So as you grew within that role, were there times that you had other actors give you some thoughts and feedback that helped to maybe bring that role to life in different ways, that maybe ways you didn't expect?
Yeah, well, one thing that wasn't put in words, but something that helped me become Paul Graff was Jeremy Strong. He has a special method of acting where he likes to stay in his role when the camera isn't rolling. So when everybody was preparing for the next scene or when people were cutting or changing things, he would stay in his role and he would stay as the Irvin Graff. So that kind of helped me stay as Paul and just get to know what Irvin Graff or Paul Graff's dad would be like.
We are talking to Banks Repeta right here on Meet Me at the Movies. We appreciate you spending time with us as we dive into acting and into the world of Banks. And we're going to take a quick intermission. We're going to come right back on Meet Me at the Movies and learn more about Banks and his love of acting and maybe some of his favorites out there as well. So stick around. I'll be right back after this quick intermission.
Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch a flick?
COVID-19 vaccines are safe and effective. Millions of doses have already been given in the United States, and these vaccines have the most intensive safety monitoring in U.S. history. If you have questions, get answers from a reliable source. CDC.gov.
Education is our most powerful tool to improve and change our world. Hi, I'm Rhonda Benfield, your host for School Matters. Join me for a new program every other week with information from and about the students and staff of Cleveland County Schools. Discover what our schools are doing to challenge students and help them reach their full potential. You can catch us on Spectrum Cable Channel 19 or stream us live on c19.tv.
These days, having a secure job really matters. Take plumbing, for instance. No matter what's going on with the economy, there will always be a need for professional plumbers to fix problems, help finish a new home or renovation, and make sure the plumbing works just right. Plus, professional plumbers can make a very good living. CCC offers what you need to get going with your career as a plumber. We have a certificate program to give you top-notch residential plumbing skills and knowledge of code requirements. Our program can give you the technical know-how and skills to handle residential and some big commercial projects. You learn how to lay, install, and maintain piping fixtures and systems for gas, hot water, drainage, sprinkling, and plumbing processing systems in any environment. Job security, good pay, professional status. Now the question is, are you ready to start your journey today?
Hi, I'm Steve Putnam, and I'd like to invite you to join me for the next Talk of the Town. Each week I get to meet with some of the most interesting people in Cleveland County, and each show is packed with information you need to know to stay connected to our community. From promoting upcoming events to discussing local subjects that impact you, Talk of the Town has a little something for everyone. Plus, we're on every day, so it's easy to catch up with us. That's Talk of the Town, every day, every week, right here on C19 TV, Cleveland County's channel.
Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch?
Welcome back to Meet Me at the Movies. Noel T. Manning II here, hanging out with Banks Repeta. And there are some Cleveland County connections here for Banks as well, and definitely North Carolina connections, living in Wilmington. And we're talking about his love of film. And if you haven't seen the film Armageddon Time, check it out. Banks is in this and has a pretty substantial role in this film. We talked a little bit about that before the break, and we'll continue talking about that and a few other things as well. Now, are there key memories that you're going to always take with you that you think maybe 10 or 20 years down the road, you're always going to think back and go, wow, I remember that moment, or I remember that interaction?
Yeah, now first, memories is a different question. I remember a lot of the family dinner scenes where we had Anthony Hopkins, Anne Hathaway, and Jeremy Strong, and all these great actors and people at the dinner table as a family. And it was pretty great because a lot of the scenes were improv. A lot of it wasn't by the script. It was a lot of improv when he had the talks about the trust bridge, how a triangle can't be distorted by stress, and how everybody is like supposed to be interested about that, which was really funny. And it was just really great because it was nice to have that sense of a family.
You mentioned that kind of family aspect of this and that sense of family. What are some of the lessons you feel you learned from some of the others? You mentioned Jeremy Strong and kind of that acting aspect of what you gained from him, but maybe some other lessons you feel you've learned from this particular film, Armageddon Time.
Let's see. Something that I learned just by being on set is that a lot of these great places, like the Guggenheim Museum or Central Park or a lot of New York, hasn't changed at all since 1980, which is strange and impressive and crazy and great. But yeah, that's something important that I've learned from Armageddon Time.
You're not to associate with him again.
And my mom's trying to tell me about one time when I had a walk with Anne Hathaway. Well, I split it into two groups, different actors and Armageddon Time. So for different actors, before we started filming, me and Anne Hathaway took a walk in Central Park, and she taught me about the poet Rumi. And we got to walk together and just get to know each other. And she told me about what kind of actor she is, and it was nice getting to know her.
Yeah, we can learn so much from those that we encounter, whether it's just through observation or interactions or being truly engaged with every aspect of what they offer. And you truly had a actor's dream to be with this cast, without a doubt. Any other thoughts you want to make sure you cover as it relates to Armageddon Time that you don't want to leave before we talk about, and then we'll go on to a few other things?
Just that it was such a great cast. I mean, well, I learned something from all the actors. Like, as I said about Jeremy, he had a special type of acting style that affected everybody on set in a good way. And she taught me about the poet Rumi, and Anthony Hopkins. He told me to speak clearly and make sure that people hear you.
As you think about actors that you have watched either on stage or screen, who are some of those that you feel that you're drawn to, that you appreciate what it is they do as acting talent?
You'd probably think that my mom is telling me to say this, but I really enjoy my mom's acting. As an actress, I've watched her work, and I think it's not how she is as an actress, but how she is offset.
It's great that you are learning from your parents and that these lessons are not getting lost on you. I know that as a parent of two kids, I appreciate it when they take the time to want to engage and want to listen and want to learn. And so I applaud you. I applaud you for that. Now, Banks, I'm sure that you enjoy watching probably TV, streaming, films. What are your go-tos just from a personal standpoint? What are the types of films and filmmakers that you love to just watch for the joy of watching film or watching story?
I really enjoy all the movies by the Coen brothers. Raising Arizona, Fargo, a lot of their dramas just really intrigue me.
Yeah, my son would appreciate a conversation with you because he is a big Coen brothers fan as well, and he's also a Nicolas Cage fan. So if you look over my shoulder, you'll see Nicolas Cage's head hanging out on my bookshelf. That's courtesy of my son, who actually has a life-size Nicolas Cage riding in his car right now somewhere up in Maine. So, wow. So yeah, Coen brothers, such a unique group of filmmaking talent, and the things that they're able to bring to the screen. It's quirky in every perfect way, that is for sure. Want to just give you a chance to share any final thoughts or comments that you have about filmmaking, about your love of acting, about anything else maybe we didn't get a chance to touch on.
Make sure if you ever make it to a movie set that listen and watch everything, because you'll really get to learn something.
Wonderful. And Banks, there are some other films that you have been able to be a part of as well. You want to mention some of those?
Yes, I played Griffin Stagg in The Black Phone, and in Welcome to Flatch, I played Levi. And that's about it for the bigger films besides Armageddon Time.
Awesome. Well, Banks, if anybody wanted to follow your work and follow your journey, what is the best way they can do that? Are you active on social or?
Yes.
Okay. Share that if you would.
You have an Instagram account at Banks Repeta, and that's where I post a lot of what's going on.
Wonderful. And before I leave, I just got a text of one question that my general manager wanted to make sure I asked. He saw quite a few photos of the premiere of Armageddon Time and the time that you got a chance to see that with an audience. And I'd love for you to talk about that memory and that experience before we wrap up, if you can think back to that.
Well, the first premiere I had was in France. And for the first premiere, that was very insane, crazy, exciting, fun, unforgettable. I can't put it into words. It was so great. Well, I flew into Cannes, and that's where I saw the movie for the first time on the big screen. And it was crazy because I heard a lot of things about the people in Cannes where some people, if they hate the movie, they'll stand up from their chairs, make a loud noise with the chair, and straight up leave. So I had a lot of anticipation and just excitement and anticipation for to see what the people would think of the movie, because it was a very big audience in a very big theater. And well, when the movie finished, everybody stood up, and the people in Cannes clapped for about 7 minutes straight.
Wow.
Here's clapping for 10 seconds. This is 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I didn't even make it to 10. That felt pretty long, right?
Right. Wow.
Right? Yeah,
Yes.
it was so great.
Wow, that is amazing, and I'm glad that you were able to have that kind of experience, because many people work their entire careers and never get that, and that's amazing. So thanks for sharing that, and thanks to Greg Tillman for making sure that I got that question in. So appreciate Greg sending me that as well. And Banks, thanks for your time. I truly appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to what's to come, and I'm excited for you and for your family. And again, thanks for taking the time.
Thank you. I'm glad I got to make it on your show.
And so until next time, I am Noel T. Manning II for Banks Repeta, and meet me at the movies, and that is a wrap.
Many films to view until we meet again. Next time we see you, we'll gladly fill you in. We'll tell about the happy and the sad ones. We'll talk about the good ones and the bad ones. Many films to view till we meet again.